Hello, VOD watchers. Welcome to part 24 of Cyberpunk 2077 with a therapist. As always, I appreciate that you have made it this far. I am very excited tonight because this evening we are finally going to speak to Takemura. And before I say the usual things, I would like to let you know that if you are watching this stream during the duration of the playthrough, and I may leave it up for a little while afterwards just in case, there is new merch available in the merch store that is Takemura themed. If you want to pick up this beautiful t-shirt commemorating the way that we have treated Takemura up until this point, I encourage you to go to drmickmerch.com and pick this up. It's available on a t-shirt, on a crew neck sweatshirt, and on a mug. You can get those at drmickmerch.com. Link is down in the description. Feel free to grab it. Designed by me. Enjoy. Commemorate the playthrough. Commemorate our maltreatment of Takemura by picking up this shirt. Also, make sure you follow me on socials. TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. And make sure that you share my stuff. Hit me with a thumbs up. If you aren't subscribed, please make sure you subscribe. Check out my other videos as well. But I appreciate immensely your support of this stream. I'm very excited to see what all the hoopla about talking to Takemura is about. So let's hop in the Batmobile. And let's do our thing, huh? Let's go. To return in 8 hours to that, so, you know. If someone told me I'd be taking calls from Saburo Arasaka's fucking bodyguard, I'd have laughed in their face. And now we're supposed to meet with some Takemura, hand over all the deets. I'm not even going to pretend like this is a good idea, but fuck it. Sometimes you got to go all in. Hell yeah, Johnny. Let's go ahead and track this. Meet with Takemura. There it is, baby. Yeah, just, you know, one more reminder. Away we go. Batmobile is outrageously fun. I've been looking forward to driving this all day. We had to think about it. I mean, I really took what Johnny said to heart. You know, Johnny's like, I don't know that I like the idea of meeting with Takemura. And I was like, you know what, Johnny? I feel you, brother. So we'll wait 24 episodes. Or however many it's been since we talked to him. This is just, God, we're just cruising. So great. Go through town here, as we do. What's up, Frankie? The driving is only first person because I choose to do it first person, which, by the way, those of you that have been leaving comments on YouTube about that, I like driving first person. For me, it's not that bad. I do not mind it. I know that a lot of folks can't stand it. They think I'm some sort of sociopath because I drive first person in this game. I really enjoy it. I don't think it's too bad. And yes, I do it with mouse and keyboard. I just love challenging myself. It's really not too bad. I mean, driving like this is cool too. Like, this car is pretty neat. The way the cars handle in Cyberpunk, I actually prefer first person. Plus, you know, I played a lot of Formula 1 and Forza, so lets me do a little bit of that. By the way, if you do enjoy any parts of this or any other aspect of the playthrough, I love when people leave comments on the YouTube videos. Thank you. If you leave me a comment, please know that I appreciate that immensely. Even when I don't reply to them, I do read them. I read every single YouTube comment that comes through. And I'm really grateful for all of you who are willing to share your thoughts about the playthrough, ask it follow-up questions, or whatever it may be. Your engagement is greatly appreciated for the YouTube algorithm. All right, we're going to get shot at when we drive through here, because every single time we drive through here, people get mad at us. I will say that since the most recent update, it does kind of feel like there is more pop-in in the game than there ever was before the most recent update. Like, I've noticed it considerably more. My frames are about the same, but... Alright, 1.4. We're getting there, chat. Let's see what my man has to say. It would be hilarious if when we talk to him, he's like, dude, where have you been? I thought you died. I called this meeting forever ago, and you just completely blew me off. This isn't how I expect to be treated. Hello, Shay. Here we go, the Japantown docks. Can you feel it, chat? Can you feel the suspension building? You getting tingly? I'm getting tingly. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. All right. It's happening! It's happening! Look at this. I even dressed up for him. I even made sure that I wore my hot red pants and my orange jacket for him. With the fur. Coat with the fur, with the fur. Okay, shut up, Brian. Let's go. Chaco, thank you so much for the 3 months. Right now. Takamura, right now. Here it is. Oh my gosh. Can we just take a second to appreciate this moment? Check my pants. Yeah, nice. Okay. I like to let the suspenders hang off the sides, too. It's cool. Waiting for you, BB. Oh.
It is good to see you, B.
Hello.
It's pretty, secluded here.
It is appropriate for such a secret meeting.
Secret meeting we've known about for 23 episodes. All right, I'm done. You look awful. I don't need to say that to him. Where's your friend?
Friend you mentioned here?
Oda? He should be here any moment now.
Willing finally to give me the spec on him?
He's Hanako-sama's bodyguard.
Hanako Arasaka's? From the carrier at anchor in the bay. Saburo's daughter.
Yes, and if he believes you, we'll next meet with her.
Oh, that is risky business, dog. You really think he's gonna believe me?
Sure you can trust him?
Yes,
Convincing. Very.
I have nothing to lose. Is that better?
Worse. 'Cause I got plenty to lose.
Yeah, have you seen the messages in my phone?
By God, huh? A good sign. He is usually camouflaged.
What up? Oh boy. Alright, I'm following your lead, Takemura. Now this is in all seriousness here, this is a very tense moment. There are immense ramifications to this, and I don't know this guy. I barely know Takemura. There are a ridiculous amount of unknown variables that are going into this upcoming sequence of events. And so my mindset on this is, 1, to pay attention to what variables I can actually work with. 2, to control what I can control. 3, to follow Takemura's guidance and to sort of look at his reactions to things. Because if Takemura seems like he's relatively calm and stoic through this, then it means that this person is acting in a way that he is expecting him to, and that's my point of reference. I don't have any expectation here, and I'm not going to rely on my intuition. I have a person who knows of this person, right? So if Takemura starts to get shifty and he looks uncomfortable and it seems like he's either trying to bail out or he's starting to just shoot from the hip, then that tells me that this guy has not responded in a way that Takemura was anticipating, and potentially we need to either pull out of this or be really cautious. So one of the things that is to be learned from this is that, like, you can get a lot of interactional dynamic data by observing other folks who are more informed about the dynamics and the interaction that is taking place. And so we're going to watch Takemura and listen to the way that he interacts with this guy. I'm not going to trust my own instincts on this.
竹村さん。小田。Is this him? Your thief. He's my witness, V.
Can't speak for myself, you know.
So speak. I have been told you know things.
We are not off to a good start. V does not need to be aggressive here. We know what happened. We can speak matter-of-factly. We do not have to be aggressive. Like, V's got to be careful here, man. Like, trying to... This is a inverse of the dynamic that we saw in the previous episode. Remember when we came to the nomads and the scavs, and we had that whole interaction, and I was talking about how if we stay calm, we hold power? Well, that's exactly what this guy's doing. This guy comes up, he's reserved, he makes an entrance, he asks a question, he looks cool and collected, and we see V sort of freak out and become aggressive. This is not good. I don't like this. So we're gonna be real mindful here of how we use this, because I didn't have an opportunity to just kind of let this play out. Not gonna like what I have to say. Need a guarantee. Yorinobu who strangled his father. Okay, so I am not a big fan of saying you're not going to like what I have to say. It may seem at first glance like that's a very smart play, because it means that I have empathy for this guy's situation. But I am not about to overstep my bounds in terms of what this relationship is to me. I just met this guy. I have no idea what his motivations are. I have no idea what his attitude is going to be about what happened. These are all assumptions and projections that are based on the representations I've had of Arasaka and all the people we know within them. So I'm not going to say that this is going to upset him. I'm going to stick straight to the facts. I'm going to be very clear about what happened, and I'm going to remain calm in how I talk about it. Because if I start getting flustered and qualifying and all up in my head about it, it doesn't help my case. This guy's already going to be suspicious. I already know I'm going to blow this guy's mind. I don't need to preempt this conversation by saying that's the case. And so we would all do well to be mindful of that sometimes. Don't empathize with your projections. Don't empathize using data you don't have. Just state the facts. You do not have to qualify your statements like this.
Was there. Saw what happened. Yorinobu strangled the old guy.
Silence! Not one word more. You will bring death to your door. But it is the truth. Hanako-sama must hear it.
That guy ain't liking that, because this happened long ago enough that people have formulated their own speculations about what happened. This is very like hush-hush and cryptic. So his response to this makes sense, because if I say something that's counter to the narrative that he's been constructing for a long time, he's going to react this way. I've created dissonance in his mind. The idea that he has to contemplate is overwhelming. We saw it, so we got to bypass the consideration that Yorinobu would strangle his father. We got to completely bypass the consideration of that and the gravity of that by witnessing it. This guy, hearing it from me, has to take that information and synthesize it into a possibility. And that is ridiculously hard to do. The ramifications of that are wild. It is way easier to stick to his preconceived notion and expectation and just assimilate this in by saying, this guy's nuts, didn't happen, shut the hell up. Makes complete sense why he reacted this way.
My one concern is to keep her safe in this city forgotten by the gods.
Is she in danger?
Now? No. Yet during the parade to honor Arasaka-sama, most certainly.
I bring you this witness to his murder, and you dare to worry about the silly parade? Fool!
Correct. Unlike you, I have not yet failed to keep my oath.
I'm gonna interject.
To my duty.
But you can't ignore the truth.
The only thing I regret is that I came here to meet you.
It was worth a shot.
There is a price on your head. I do you a favor now by not cutting it off and taking it straight to Yorinobu-sama. What would you do now, were you in my place?
I do no favors. I would deliver your head to Yorinobu-sama.
Consider yourself lucky that I am not you.
Oda,
You can't.
not like we're asking for a whole lot here. Just one brief meeting. Hanako should decide if what we say is true. You can't decide for her. Will you help?
I will not.
Asshole.
I will let you leave this place, this city, unharmed. If I see either of you again, I will not be so lenient.
Be very careful, my friend. We are all so far from home.
Good fucking riddance. 1 Arasaka whack job is already plenty.
All right, easy, Johnny.
Fine friend there. Got any more?
Alas, only him.
I care nothing about what Johnny has to say. Johnny is so anti-Arasaka that he is just unbelievably biased. So I don't really have much mind for what Johnny has to say here. I stand by what I said, that she should be able to decide for herself. Now, I would be curious to know the personal threat that is at stake with Oda. Hard to know. We could make, hypotheses, but I don't know how helpful that is. Takamura has stayed relatively calm here as a callback to what I was talking about before we entered this. Takamura hasn't seemed to be particularly thrown off, so something tells me that Takamura expected that this was a possibility, that he wouldn't listen. So he seems relatively unfazed by this. So, we'll see. We tried. We did try.
Well, can't say we didn't try.
We tried, yes, and obtained something useful.
What's that?
How do you figure that?
What Oda said. They returned to Tokyo after the parade. Do you not see the parade? It is our chance, perhaps. If, somehow, we can get to Hanako-sama, we must do a proper reconnaissance first. We'll need a precise map of Japantown.
Hold on.
It is your turn to call on friends. Do you know a fixer who could help?
Hang on. Not so fast. Make it sound as easy as hacking a schism. You said yourself, Hanako's got the tightest security in All Night City.
Correct. That is why I wish for you to contact us with the local fixer.
Okay, well, good thing we've helped Wakako out a little bit, huh?
No, just a fixer dame. Wakako Akata. Runs a pachinko parlor on Jig Street.
We must pay this woman a visit. Will you join me?
Yeah, you're not doing it by yourself.
Sure, why not?
Vehicles still in use, and to submit
He wants-
principles
oh,
for
man.
installation with state-issued GPS tracers. Thank you for watching N54 News. Join us again next time.
J
Right.
Street. What is this name?
Just a Night City name.
Beware, you mock me too often.
Good for him. Good for him for standing up for himself. Because V is a dick to him. He really is. And now, okay, you ready? You ready, chat? You ready? I don't think that V's animosity toward Takemura and toward Oda is entirely him. I think V has reason to be angry at Arasaka. We lost Jackie way back in the day. But I think we got a little Johnny Silverhand creeping in here. See, there are times during this game where we get so wrapped up in the fact that we're V that we forget that Johnny Silverhand's consciousness is blending with ours. Johnny is so ridiculously anti-Arasaka. Probably to the point of racism. That we don't treat Takemura well. And he's pointing that out to us, which I appreciate. But I think it's important for us to look at the context of this. We don't often get a chance to engage with Takemura in a kind way. And I think that's probably some of Johnny's bias bleeding through here. And if we want to look at that as a metaphor, when you are working with certain folks that hold various identities or roles or whatever, our responses to those folks, particularly emotionally, are not always just ours. They are the product of bleed through from the people that we have learned from and listened to and the representations we've seen throughout our life. So Johnny's anger and disdain for the Arasakas affecting V is, I think, in some ways a really nice metaphor for the way that representation in our formative experiences with folks and what they've taught us affects the way that we show up to these interactions. Keep going.
You alright, Goro?
Yes. Why the sudden concern?
Yeah, I'm not going to challenge him on that. He totally is within the right to be, like, surprised that I would ask that question.
Have shared interests, you and I. Or have you forgotten?
Certainly not.
Good. Because catching
These
lead in
tones-
this city is easier than catching a cold. And I need you alive.
I am alive and well, as you can see. You should worry about yourself.
Fair.
Any idea what's going on at Arasaka?
Only what I can surmise from what I see on TV. Yorinobu and his puppets grin at the cameras and insist that everything is under control. But the wider the smile, the bigger the lies.
And now we sit in silence. I don't know how much farther we have to go. Yeah, our dynamic with Takemura is really interesting because to some extent he really helped us out. So he's trying to help us figure out our chip. He's got his own personal interests. I do not really care for V's animosity toward him. It comes from somewhere else, because it's certainly not in relation to how Takemura has spoken to us and interacted with us. He's not really been that big of a dick. I don't really see any reason for the aggression. So that tells me that there's something more going on here, and I really think that it is some of the bleed through from Johnny. Also, this music is excellent. Takemura, you sure drive slow, buddy. All right, here we are. Gotta just hold on for 2 seconds.
What's shaking, Night City? Your man Stan here.
Oh, let's see how Wakako takes this.
It's been worse.
It's gonna be interesting. Good old Jig Jig Street.
You asshole! Dirt-eating, no-good bastard son of a bitch! Stop right there!
What? Oh! Hey! Honey!
The bar is still chatty. Got something that'll keep you hard for hours.
Hey, you looking...
What up, friends?
How I miss the sound.
Rogue, my sweet. This has got to be a misunderstanding. I've no idea who jumped your team, but the claws? No, never. My boys know their place. I'm sorry, got to go. I have guests.
You do. What's up?
V, so nice to see you. And your charming friend is?
My man Takemura.
Happen to be working together. That's all.
Takemura Goro desu.
Goro Takemura. The honor is mine, Okada-san.
Ah, a true gentleman. Ah, shame only that he's being hunted by all Arasaka's tin soldiers. And you, V, bring him to my door. Give me one reason why I shouldn't notify the proper authorities right away.
You're curious. I'm appealing to her curiosity. Eddies don't matter. She can get eddies from anywhere.
Would have already made the call if you intended to. Simple. You're curious to see what we got.
So tell me, and mark well I still have my phone at hand.
Need intel on the parade that's scheduled to come through Japantown.
So it's Arasaka. Again.
Yeah.
What I fail to understand is, why come to me? Did Mr. Deshawn not come to the phone?
About that. I'm not gonna throw Takemura. I'm not gonna throw Takemura under the bus in front of her. If I throw Takemura under the bus in front of her, it completely undermines the dynamic that I am trying to portray to her. She sees me go, hey Takemura, what happened to Dex? And then Takemura goes, I shot him in cold blood. We look like a bunch of doofuses in front of her. Complete idiots. So we're going to appeal to her ego. I'm not throwing Takemura under the bus while we do this.
You wanted to say something?
You have got to be mindful of that kind of thing. You're going to undermine somebody in front of somebody. You have lost credibility as a unit in the worst of ways. The worst of ways. You do not want to be in that situation.
Come on. Got your finger on the hood's pulse. Know everything.
Why she doesn't know about
Honoring
Dex.
Saburo Arasaka? You're prepping in some way, no doubt.
Won't see me dressed in mourning.
今なんて
But the rest is true. Everything's on the shards.
How much does this cost? My pockets are empty.
Clearly. My gift to you, it's free.
Okada-san, what is free often proves most costly.
Gonna take them or not? Japantown. Whole district is to be sealed off for the parade. Dashi platforms, the main attraction. They'll fly this way, high above street level. Along the parade route, balconies, footbridges, and vantage points affording good views. Hanako Arasaka, a guest of honor, will deliver her speech from the largest float. She'll do this exactly here. Got no idea about security, but given recent events, expect it to be tight. Our last parade, Arasaka undercovers infiltrated the crowd. Not to mention a smattering of sharpshooters, drones, and if that's not enough fun for one day, a net runner, one at least. They use the city CCTV to observe everything. Main access point, here. It's an old automated control center. If you ask me, most useful by far. At the end, the floats will float out of Japantown, and we'll be left with trash up to our elbows that no one will collect. That's it. It's all I have.
It must be enough.
Then go. Be on your way.
We're going to talk about how she just happened to have a chip that had an entire canvassing of Japantown for the parade, just on her person, ready to go. It was a very Ron Burgundy, I'm really not prepared moment. Like, thanks. Jeez. Appreciate that. I'm not gonna challenge her with this. So it was one thing for me to appeal to her curiosity. It's another thing for me to start challenging her and being like, you want to know why we're doing that? There's not really any utility to that. Wakako doesn't care. Apparently. If she wanted to know more about our motivations, she would ask. So I'm not going to make that her business if she's not asking about it. There's no reason for me to disclose more information without her desire to hear it. Absolutely none. In Night City, the more information that you have that other people don't have, the more power you have. There is no point in me just being like, you sure you don't want to know why we're doing this, Wakako? You sure you don't want to have a whole bunch of information about the chip that I got on my head? Like, there's just dumb. Don't get yourself in trouble by over disclosing, friends.
Thanks, Wakako.
We appreciate this, Okada-san.
Yes, we do.
A delightful, mature woman. This information, it could be just what we need. But I will try to investigate further. I will stay here some time and call some associates.
Only because I can't get it out of my head, and I think it's an interesting moment to make this point. You can hear people's biases very subtly in between the lines of the language they use. So when Takemura says to us, very mature woman, he's saying that in reference to his typical perception of women, which is that they aren't. And this is very similar to when a person says something like, you know, oh, he's so well spoken, in reference to, say, you know, somebody who's black or brown. What you're implying by saying something like that is that you don't typically expect a person to be well spoken, and when they are, you point it out as a difference. So when he says, wow, she's very mature, he's sort of making a point about his general perception of women. There's bias that comes out in that. And it's very important for us to monitor that stuff, because it is a window into what the representations we carry of certain groups of folks is. And if you're mindful of those things, it reduces the chance that you're going to microaggress. It also helps you move along in terms of trying to get more accurate representation of people. Now, whether Takemura meant mature maybe is just like she's old, that's fine. Like maybe it's a language thing, but the point stands. That's as good of an example of that as I've been able to find in this playthrough or any of the others, of that very subtle language that shows the bias that many of us carry.
The moment I learn something new, I will let you know.
Thursday, Friday,
Just
whatever works for you.
low profile, okay? Don't start handing out autographs.
In fame, I could not overtake you if I tried. Be safe, B.
All right. Okay. I don't want to call Brigitte. Read Rob's message. Okay, so Rob did get back to me. Bob! What do you got for me, dog? Come back to camp. It's about Jake. All right. Well, back out to the Nomad camp. Now again, I do want to recognize me because I see some of the comments that like, yes, it may be a language thing, right? Like it might be a language thing with Takemura, but the point still stands that like we need to be mindful of that language. So even if that's not exactly what Takemura was going for, I'm not like roasting Takemura. I'm not like saying like, oh, he's this big sexist pig. What I am saying, though, is that we can all get a really nice window sometimes into our biases by the ways that we point out difference relative to our common perceptions. We all do this. And it's important for us to understand that we all do this because then we can learn more about our biases and acknowledge them. I'm not saying this to be like Takemura is a big giant piece of shit. It's just there's maybe some bias in there. Maybe there's a language barrier, right? Some of the times when I point stuff like this out, I realize that it can be slightly nitpicky, but when the opportunity presents itself for me to illustrate something like that, that's as good of an opportunity as I've had to do it. God damn it. You kill one person with your car and the cops just won't leave you alone. Talk to Bob. Oh! I'll use this drive as an opportunity to say how much I appreciate all of you being here. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my videos. Thank you for sharing it with people. Thank you for following me on social media. Thank you for the monetary support, those of you that become members by hitting the join button or tipping or buying merch. I'll remind you one more time, we've got some cool merch available for you in the merch store at drmickmerch.com. More than anything, I appreciate your presence. Those of you that are here live, that make the effort to come out here to watch me on YouTube live, it really means a lot. I am live at 9:30 p.m. Pacific time. For those of you that are watching the VODs and would like to catch one of these, sometimes we just chat, sometimes we play these games, sometimes we do fun stuff with my friends. A lot of diversity on the channel. We also do mental health topics, and there's a lot to learn. So I do hope that you'll subscribe to the channel. I hope you'll show up sometime while I'm live and say hello. Saying like there should be a minimum kill limit there. I mean, it's just, you know, I'm just being a shithead. Where are we at in the story broadly? We are, I don't know, man. We are like over 40 hours into the game. And since I'm doing this as a blind playthrough, I don't know exactly how far we are. And I don't want anybody in chat to answer that question because I don't want spoilers. So the answer is I'm not really sure, Christian. We are on part 24 of the run, so 40 hours in, part 24. Doing some main quest line stuff after we spent a lot of time doing side quests. Think this is the one? Yeah. When I play RPGs, I like to do side quests early. Leave the main story. There's a lot of times where you'll like progress the main storyline and then all of a sudden you can't do certain side quests, and that kind of bums me out. I've started the game, I could say that, and I haven't ended it. It has been very enjoyable. Very, very enjoyable. Also, I'm glad you're all here. Whether you're chatting, lurking, or watching the VOD. Thank God this car is fun to drive, so that this cruise out here is not as annoying as it could be. Oh boy, okay, oh boy. Oh jeez. Oh God. Batmobile's not really built for off-roading, but okay. That's fun. There we go. Jeez, okay. Oh boy. Fun to watch, especially after full screen mode. Looks like I'm actually in the car, right? As I destroy the car relentlessly. Yeah, Wakako's where's Dex line is interesting. We can interpret that a whole number of ways, right? Like, yeah, when were we supposed to do that mission is certainly one way to do it. The other way is like maybe Dex wasn't as much of a big shot as we thought. All right, here we go. What's up, Bob?
How's Jake doing?
He's easing into it, slowly. Needs a day or two to get up on his feet.
I'm glad to hear that.
You have my thanks, V. On behalf of myself and the entire family.
That couldn't have been a phone call. That's a meeting that could have been an email, brother. You have any idea how far out I have to drive to get here? For Jake to be passed out on the bed and for you to tell me that it's going okay? Bob, I appreciate the sentiment, man, but
those AIs expect a big boost in demand for orbital flight. In the very near future. But why?
a test of friendship. Yes, yes. Yeah, he just can't get enough of the Batmobile. That's all it is. He's like, yeah, I want to see how badly you fucked up the Batmobile on your way here, buddy. Oh my God. Oh.
They seem intent on keeping it to themselves. Regardless of our fates, the time
Unbelievable that he would send that message to me and say, come on out here.
to buy our tickets to the moon once the world finally goes to hell.
Y'all ever experienced deja vu? 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 Now we get to just, you know, drive back into the city, waste all this gas. Bob owes me gas money after this shit. I'm so salty about this, man. It's like bringing back memories of academia where there were so many stupid-ass meetings that could have been an email. It's like, why are we wasting our time? What are we doing here? Oh, I went one street too far. I know I've pointed this out before on streams, but if you've never heard me say this, I'll use this as an opportunity to talk about deja vu. It's a very interesting theory about deja vu. The prevailing theory about deja vu, as far as I understand it, is that it is a memory encoding glitch that happens in your brain, where instead of encoding the moment that you're currently processing into short-term memory, like into RAM, your brain encodes it into long-term memory. Basically throws it on the hard drive, and so you experience the moment as if you have experienced it a long time ago, instead of if you have experienced it recently or in the moment. And I think that's truly fascinating. Your brain's just like, whoops, put it in the wrong spot. Enjoy this really eerie feeling that what you're doing is something you've done before. Knows what you'll find. We got 2 side quests we can knock out, and then maybe we go to the apartment, take a little siesta, and then wake up to some more Takemura action. Here I thought it was the multiverse. It's such a reasonable explanation. It would be neat if that's actually the case. It's really hard to know, because in order to do a study on deja vu, you have to have a person legitimately experience deja vu at the moment that their brain is being monitored, and that's ridiculously difficult to do, if not impossible. So it's really a bummer that it's something that we may not ever fully understand. I know you're not down with dream psych, but what about having a dream and then something happening IRL to give you deja vu from the dream? Hard to know. I mean, there are certain like machinations of dreams that are, you know, constructed using reality, and there can be similarities, but dreams are so ambiguous that it's hard to like look at that as being any way or shape or form legitimate. Yeah, deja vu is a pretty unsettling experience for lots of folks. I gotta give this car some real credit here. I only scuffed the rims and the side pods. Like, it held up pretty well given how terribly I drove it. That was weird. Man, the popping is crazy ever since the update.
Hey, you. Sitting in the wrong spot.
This isn't a bar?
It is. But it's our bar. Get up.
This is where we had Jackie's memorial.
Me, go teach these assholes how to behave in my
off.
bar.
Ain't your biz here.
You heard what Pepe said. Take a fucking walk.
June, fuck off, or I implant my blade in your ribs.
Really think you're fast enough with that blade? Really? The way I see it, be a smoking hole in your chest before your neurons even light up. But hey, nothing like a little experiment, right?
Alright, come on, Pedro. That work. Yo, fuck you! Carajo. Fucking punk!
What?
Who's the little bitch that's walking away, huh?
In a little trouble.
Huh? Who's the little bitch that's walking away?
Damn, sorry. I think I've had a little too much.
Fuck, what a night. Why'd you help me?
Because he would have caught a beating. Or worse.
This fucking town, these people, just here, minding my own business. If it weren't for you, I'd... Here, for your trouble. The rest,
Thanks, brother.
bartender got the rest.
Nighty night. What up?
Circling him like sharks on the scent of fresh corporal blood. Could have ended badly if you hadn't stepped in, Mick.
Yeah, well, not all heroes wear capes.
How about we drink to you then? On the house.
Appreciate it, bud. I'm waiting for a phone call from my friends, so
Don't
might
say
as well.
no to a free drink.
The good fortune and prosperity.
Long day?
Could say that again. I'm on a double. No break.
Working overtime to make an extra buck?
Nah, just don't want to go home. 10 years married, you know? 10 years and suddenly I'm not good enough. No, she has to go get some side action.
This is the story of my goddamn life, chat. You have no idea how many times in my life I'm just going about my business, doing my thing with a resting bitch face, and this happens. This has happened to me so many times in my life. Okay, just pointing that out. We're going to do some cool analysis of this here in a second. I just had to point this out because holy shit, man. This happens to me all the time. It's like people could sniff I'm a therapist without me even telling them.
Anyhow, since you brought up money, you wouldn't be looking for a gig, would you, V? Pay solid.
Okay. Well, before we take him up on this, I would like to talk a little bit about what people do when they don't feel comfortable engaging in a healthy, dyadic conversation about the dynamics of their relationship. You have to communicate in your relationships. If you choose to be in a long-term relationship and you want it to be healthy, you have got to say the hard thing. Healthy relationships are built on people's ability to respond well when difficult things are said. If you avoid saying difficult things, if you avoid talking about certain desires or fantasies or things that are bothering you, you name it, you are actively sabotaging your own relationship. Assuming that the relationship is not abusive. That's a separate deal. Okay? What often happens is, let's say, for example, this guy's wife is not satisfied in the bedroom. Their sex life is not great by both of their standards, but particularly hers, and she chooses not to communicate about that. Or conversely, she attempts to communicate about it and he doesn't listen. Okay, I'm not going to blame her for this entirely. I have no idea which one it is. However, when people don't communicate about this stuff and they have various needs in the relationship that the relationship is no longer fulfilling and they don't have it set up to be able to communicate effectively, they will seek it externally. You talk to people who have affairs, it is usually because there is something off in their own relationship and they are just seeking gratification in that need outside of it. It's very rarely super malicious. It's usually an indictment on the relationship itself. The number one thing you do to prevent an affair from happening is talk about wanting to have an affair. It's the number one thing that will prevent it, because then it starts the conversation and you can work to rectify it in your relationship if that's not something that you want to have happen. The other thing that can happen is that people sometimes avoid things in their marriage by staying at work. Work is a lot more stable. It's a lot more consistent. There's a lot less drama. They can avoid communicating by going to work. This is how people separate. This is how people get into a space where they're no longer emotionally available to each other. And it's all because they're afraid to say the hard thing to each other. I could guess that with about 90% certainty that that's what's happening in this guy's relationship. Talk, friends. Use your words. If you don't have if your relationship is not one where you can have hard conversations, it's probably not a super healthy relationship.
Run me through it.
It's about my wife, right? Name's...
Okay, so now I'm getting triangulated. This is usually where I would say, hey, your marriage, your problem. But...
Cynthia. She's cheating. Damn sure of it. Only question is, who will? Could let it eat away at me. Or I could get someone like you. Ain't no more than an evening's work.
Hey, V. Allow me to avoid the difficult thing in my marriage. Allow me to avoid the difficult conversation that needs to happen. Allow me to skate by and not address the issue head on by involving you in this. What better way for me to be able to continue avoiding the nasty things that are happening in my relationship than to rope you into it and do a little reconnaissance for me, big dog? This isn't the way. This isn't the way, man. If you believe that your partner is engaging in an extradiatic relationship, you should ask about it. You should share your experience. You should use iMessages. You should say, you know, I am concerned about our relationship. I have a sense that something may be going on, and I was wondering if we could have a conversation about it. A healthy relationship will sustain that conversation. A not healthy relationship that's going off the rails will not. This dude needs to tend to his own issues. This is not something that I would normally get myself involved with. I'd be like, you go figure it out. Now, here's the other thing. Maybe even more important. Sometimes navigating the dyadic relationship, in this case his marriage, is so overwhelming, is so daunting, is so worthy of avoidance that a person will overly fixate on who is my partner cheating with. It doesn't really matter. The issue is with your relationship. You should be working to figure out what is going on in your relationship. And I'm not saying you have to salvage it. You could end it. You should be figuring out what's going on in your relationship. Who the person is engaging with is that pursuit of that is often an avoidance of navigating the dynamic in the relationship that matters to you. And way too often, you will see people get angry at the person that their partner is cheating with even more than their partner because it's easier. That person is external. There's less emotional investment. It's less vulnerable to engage with the hurt that comes along with that and to potentially be further rejected by having that conversation with the person who has cheated on you. Cheating and affairs are boundary violations. It's rarely about the sex. It's usually about the fact that you have violated a boundary of our relationship. That's something that needs to be talked about within the relationship itself. Oftentimes the person you're having an affair with doesn't even know. Maybe they do, but maybe they don't. It's not a worthwhile endeavor. So this guy's fixation on that is not really going to do him any favors. Looking for somebody to blame, potentially, yeah, aside from yourself, right? Like, there's maybe I guarantee you in some way both of them contribute to the dynamic that's happening. There's a reason he's at work all the time, and there's a reason she's cheating. And you could potentially make the argument, and this is going to sound a little bit weird, people might get a little up in arms when I say this, but you could make the argument that she may conceptualize how often he spends time at work as him also cheating. Because perhaps one of the rules of their relationship is that they spend quality time together. And if he is avoiding his issues by going to work all the time, it doesn't have to just be sex that counts as an affair psychologically. It's his time. So I see this all the time. This is easy stuff.
Sure she's cheating on you?
Let's start with the fact that she always stays late after work. I know she's lying. Called her office one night, she wasn't even there. Besides that, well, we got a kid together, right? Doesn't even look like me. Different hair, different eyes, all of it. Used to be easy to check these things, but with today's tech, there's a way around every test now.
There's so much here. I wasn't ready for this. There's so much here. Okay, so here's another thing that can happen. When people start acting funny, certain dynamics in the relationship change in a way that's not ideal. If you do not communicate about it, if you don't engage from curiosity, if you don't have the conversation, you are going to fill the gaps with your projections. which means that maybe, just maybe, Pepe here has considered cheating himself. And because it's something that he's considered, he is assuming that she also must be thinking that. You get so much insight into where people's heads are at by what they assume people are doing when they don't have the information. And this is an example of that.
Why you want to know who she's with? What's the point?
What's the point? What kind of gonk question is that?
You're the gonk, buddy.
Answer
it.
I want to look him in the eyes. Ask him how it feels fucking some other guy's wife. Breaking up a happy marriage.
No. 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 Coward. You know what broke up your marriage? The two of you broke up your marriage. The two of you contributed to dynamics that broke your marriage up. Nobody else. It is not that guy ain't some kind of homewrecker, or that lady, or whoever the hell it is. No. You know what you should do, amigo? You should go look in the mirror and ask and say that to you. Or perhaps have a conversation with your wife. He is offloading responsibilities, triangulating by proxy this third party as a way to disperse the anxiety and vulnerability that comes along with having a conversation about what the hell happened to our marriage. I get fired up about this because I see this all the time. And it's something that people do because they just don't have the distress tolerance to navigate this in the dyad that it's supposed to be navigated in. We are always seeking to offload the anxiety and vulnerability of situations like this. So I understand why he's doing it. I can be empathic to his experience. I can be empathic to the fear that he's losing his wife, right? But when he says, what does it feel like to break up a happy marriage? Happy marriages don't have cheating. Happy marriages have healthy communication, stable dynamics, growth, problem solving, joint problem solving. Happy marriages don't have a person who just goes to work all the time and doesn't talk about it, and then somebody else who potentially engages in an affair. And we don't know that she's having an affair. This could be all in his head. This could be completely in his head. Maybe she's got some sort of medical issue going on, and she's going and talking to doctors because he's been incredibly invalidating of her experience throughout all of their marriage. And so she has to spend all of her time trying to take care of herself by going behind his back and doing things on her own because he's never shown her support. That is just as plausible as her cheating. Unless he shows me hard data that she's cheating, I have no idea. And so we have to be careful not to get sucked into this, friends. We are the outside party that if we're going to take this on, we're going to be as omniscient as possible. We're going to look for data. We're going to look for evidence. This stuff fires me up, man. What if they lie? Well, if a person's going to lie to your face, is that somebody that you really want to be with? I mean, lying is a utilitarian part of life. Nobody tells the truth 100% of the time. But if you're going to lie about this to somebody's face, well, then that's an indictment on the relationship itself. We have no idea what she's doing. We are sucked into his projections right now. He is looking for confirmation bias. Okay. I'm going to talk about another term here. Because I rarely get a chance to illustrate this in full, and so I'm going to talk about it here. Okay. I have a lecture about this. If you're interested in learning more in depth about what I'm about to say, check out the Cognitive Schema lecture on my YouTube channel. There is a level of aversive arousal going on for him right now. There's a set of expectations that this guy has, that Pepe has for his relationship. Then there is an experience that he is having of his relationship that is misaligning with those expectations. And that has created aversive arousal, which we also call anxiety. When we experience that, our brain goes into a protocol called inconsistency compensation to try to square up the experience and the expectation. What Pepe is looking for right now is a form of inconsistency compensation called affirmation. He is looking for information and allies that will affirm the story that he is telling himself about what is going on. Because if he believes that she's cheating, then it allows him to move toward the expectations that he is currently changing. It helps him move towards accommodation. Or if he believes that she's capable of cheating, in this case, if you want to go that angle, he's looking for affirmation of that, of his experience. I'm looking for somebody to believe what I'm saying, to believe my experience, to believe my projections without any data to corroborate it. So that's kind of what's happening here from a cognitive schema standpoint. In your experience, can relationships recover from infidelity? Yes. Yes, they can. It takes a lot of work, but yes, they can. I've seen people navigate infidelity very successfully and been totally fine. In fact, there are times where infidelity can actually be a positive thing for the relationship in the sense that it helps recalibrate it and get people to start engaging in some of the things that I'm talking about here. But yes, if your partner is cheating, you should talk to them. You should determine what your boundaries are, and you should engage in conversation with them. Or you make a decision to end the relationship. It's entirely up to you and what your values are on the cheating. But I think it's very important to understand cheating in the context of a relationship as opposed to looking at it as just like one malicious thing that a person does. I'm not trying to victim blame here, but I am trying to talk about like cheating is often an indictment on the relationship itself and an indictment on the communication of that relationship. Cheating sends a message. It's a message that can be better sent in a healthy way. All right, let's keep going.
You're gonna have to keep tabs on your wife. Follow her around town. Where'd she be now?
She works nearby. I'll give you the address. Knowing her, she'll be on a smoke break. Smokes like a goddamn tire fire.
Like half this city.
Wait. But today, she was wearing a pink jacket. And, she had a blue purse, I think.
Colorful.
Always like dressing up. Get a woman something nice for her birthday, anniversary. And what do you get in return?
A person who uses those objects and doesn't contribute to a stupid societal sense that if you buy something for somebody that you're now obligated to reciprocate in a way that you want and haven't communicated about. Maybe that? Maybe she's just enjoying the gift? If there's an ulterior motive to your gifts, you should be talking about it, big dog. I hate it. Hate it. Hate it. For her sake, I want to figure out what's going on. Be like, yo, dude sucks.
Okay, fine. I'm in.
I would normally not go in on this. I want to be very clear. This is one of those moments where video games facilitate bad boundaries. If this was real life, I'd say no to this in a heartbeat. Would absolutely say no to this. But there's a lot to be learned in this, so we're gonna do it.
CD Barr's betrayal of beguiling woman sounds like something out of a pulpy noir thriller. Pepe was used to listening to his customers' complaints, but now it was he who needed to get something off his chest. It was the same old story. An unfaithful wife in a city where everything was uncertain.
Are you about done? I'm trying to focus.
V, come on, lighten up, dude. That was funny. That was funny. There's no reason to be a curmudgeon there, buddy. All right, how far we got? 275 meters. I don't think rolling up in the Batmobile is a good idea. But I also don't want to run 275 meters. Parents are currently dealing with this. My stepdad was unfaithful to my mother and is trying to make amends. My mom handled it like a saint. I've tried suggesting counseling, but they struggle with the idea due to religious beliefs. It's up to them. You don't have to over-involve yourself in that, Moko. When people have an affair and there are issues going on in the relationship, it's on them to determine what they want to do. Making the suggestion for therapy is cool, but it's on them to ultimately decide whether that's something that they want to do. I do think therapy can really help, though.
Looking for the woman in the pink jacket. The woman with a sordid past.
Stop right there.
I love the way that Johnny's doing this. This is so great. All right, pink jacket.
It was her, the lady in pink, breaker of hearts, framed by a halo of cigarette smoke. I followed her.
Dreaming of the day the narrator put a fucking plug in it.
Oh my god. This is so good. Where are you going, Cynthia? Where are you going?
The woman looked around. Something weighed on her. Maybe it was my gaze.
Keep this up, I'm a fucking puke. Narrate that.
Boy, she could walk for 3 miles and we're stuck just watching her. Detective work is...
The woman passes a bum, gives him a wide berth, doesn't want her clothes dirty. Her conscience is already dirty enough.
Oh, seriously, what did I ever do to you?
Oh my god, it's so perfect. Her conscience is already dirty. Oh, don't look at me. Don't look at me. Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
The dame disappeared into the guts of a building ready to collapse. The air hung heavy with smog and betrayal.
Ugh, maybe it's a good thing I'm dying.
Walk?
Hey, careful! You'll tear my shirt!
Well.
I don't know that I would just pound my way in here. Way to leave the door open. Oh shit, she's seeing a Ripper Doc.
Hey, you! What are you doing here?
Don't mind me.
Fuck, Cynthia. Told you to make sure nobody followed you.
I'm gonna tell her her husband sent me.
Husband sent me. Suspected something.
What?
See who's right.
No! It's not like that. I can explain.
Of course. Of course. Now, I don't like my options here. If she's not cheating on him, Like, if she actually is not cheating on him, the onus is not on her to engage with Pepe about this. Not her job. The onus is squarely on Pepe to share with her his anxiety about her whereabouts. She does not need to carry the load of that. Now, if she is cheating, there is more there in terms of her obligation to communicate clearly with her husband. But if she is not, if she is generally acting in good faith, if she's just kind of doing her thing and he's filling in those gaps with his own projections, it's on him to initiate the conversation, not her. So there's a dialogue option here that tells me that you should talk to your husband about this, and I really don't believe that that's a good approach to that conversation. It's not the healthy thing to say here. The healthy thing to say here would be, I get a sense that your husband is not communicating well with you about his anxiety of what's going on. If nothing's going on, you tell me, I'll go back to him and I'll say, talk to your damn wife. If something is going on, well, I'm going to let you decide how to figure it out. Let's hear it.
Go on then, let's hear it.
Okay, for one thing, he's not my input. He's my ripper. A specialist in plastic surgery.
A specialist in this dump.
Look, I know.
Okay, I know I'm pausing a lot, but there's a lot here, okay? She is in an absolute one-down position here along with V. Because Pepe was the first person to inject information into V, V is much more likely to act on what was represented to him by the first person. If this was flipped and Cynthia had come to us first and told us that she thought something was going on with Pepe, when we would have gone to interact with Pepe, we would have been inherently biased in that conversation. It is almost impossible to be fully objective in this conversation unless you are incredibly intentional about it. So V's aggressiveness here and his skepticism and just the way that he's interacting with her is just dripping with having been influenced and biased by Pepe. So V would do well to back that up for a second and be like, whoa, I only have one side of the story. I can't operate on that. And that's something that I, as a therapist, have to be mindful of at all times. And it is also why you do not ever see, or you shouldn't really ever see, a therapist who sees one person out of a dyad individually and then the dyad, unless a person in the dyad has consented to the other person being seen individually and is fully informed on what that means in terms of bias.
I had this little accident a few years ago. The victim, the patient's family still can't let it go. That's why I'm forced to work here.
Hold on a sec. What about your kid?
Here's the thing, I didn't used to look like this. I had a total body sculpt. Skin, hair, eyes, everything. Except, well, you can't fool your genes. That's why our son looks different than Pepe imagined. It's not because he's not the father, just that I don't look anything like the old me.
Ooh, see? The plot thickens. Holy shit. Makes complete sense. That's totally feasible in this world. And wait a second, chat. How would Pepe know that? If he wanted to know that, would he give his wife the benefit of the doubt? Would he ask questions about what kinds of implants she's received? Would he maybe take an interest in the history that his wife has had with various implants and cosmetic surgeries? Nah, she cheating. So again, what this does is it gives us more information about Pepe's projections. This is how this stuff works, man. It is such a breakdown in communication, more than anything else. It is a breakdown in Cynthia and Pepe's ability to communicate in a healthy and efficient way.
Well, plot's thicker than I imagined, for sure.
I'm glad you listened. Saw it from my point of view. I know I should have told Pepe about all this, but there was never a good time, and now that I'm expecting again, it wasn't planned. Please, tell him that...
Yes?
I don't know what to tell him myself, that I'm really sorry, that life's an absurdist drama, okay? Just go.
Hit the nail on the head with that last point.
Well, I don't want to tell him. That's not my job. Guys. Oh my God. They need couples therapy. They need somebody who can help them talk about these very difficult things in a very structured way. As I have explained so many times, the thing that is the most important when you are trying to navigate healthy communication in your long-term significant relationships is the way that you respond to people when they say things that are difficult. My assumption based on talking to the two of them is that when either of them at some point in their relationship, maybe even multiple times, has attempted to talk about something difficult, the other person has not responded well. And because they haven't responded well, that person has been conditioned into avoidance. You will extinguish desirable behaviors if the reinforcement mechanism for it is a punishment. And so if she has tried to have this conversation with Pepe before, and he shut it down, and he wasn't having it, or he was aloof or disinterested, then she learns, I can't talk to him about this. If Pepe has tried to express his own concerns about what's going on in the marriage, and she has been dismissive and covert and has tried to block it out and kept herself at a distance, that is a punishment for him making the effort. So if I give this couple the benefit of the doubt, it would be that they probably attempted to do this, but right now where they're at with this massive siloing is learned experience from their relationship. And they're acting on what they've learned is allowed and not allowed in the relationship. And so a couples therapist in this context can help explain that and recalibrate it and get them to a point where they're responding in a way that's a reward for sharing what's going on with each other, even when it's a difficult thing to say. And yeah, maybe she's afraid of him. Again, we don't know all the dynamics in their marriage, but what we do know is that each one of them is skittish in talking to each other. Doesn't even matter what the content is. Doesn't matter that it's about her appearance or about cheating or about work or whatever. The fact of the matter is you could filter any of those into this process, which is that one of them attempts to say something or avoids it. The other one fills it with their projections or is punished. They separate. They realize that they can keep the peace by separating. They don't have to engage in any kind of conflict or strife if they can avoid it. And so they choose to do that to their detriment, because what they don't realize is that in avoiding these issues, what they're doing is actually building them up. They're creating more gaps to be filled with projection and assumption instead of the actual real data that's going on. That's the sequence of the Pepe and Cynthia marriage that we would want to disrupt and replace with a different sequence if the two of them are to have a better marriage going forward communication-wise. These are the ways that we have to conceptualize this. If I focus only on the appearance part of it or the work part of it, we're missing the part that transcends all of these different conversations that are being avoided by the two of them. Now, I don't want to be the guy that goes and sits as the middleman and relays these messages to each other. Because, again, she could be lying to me, too. In the same way that Pepe isn't giving me all the information, neither is she.
Job's done. Followed your wife. Went into some rundown pad. Man was waiting for her inside.
I knew it. What else?
Knew it, huh? Didn't know a thing. Didn't cheat on you. At least, not in the way you think.
Huh? What way, then?
I'm not getting dragged further into this. She'll tell you herself. Did my job, now your turn. Waiting on that scratch.
You know, I thought I'd be more than just one of your regular clients, but I guess I was wrong. See you around, V.
Oh! Ooh! He's mad. You know why he's mad? Because I just detriangulated myself, which is something that everybody watching this can learn from. I don't need to further meddle in their affairs. I have set a boundary with him. I have said, I am no longer going to be the middleman in these conversations between you and your wife. I got you the information you wanted, and I am shoving all of the anxiety back into the dyad. This is for the two of them to decide how they want to navigate it. If they want to continue to perpetuate the process of avoiding each other and filling gaps with assumptions, by all means do that. It's not my responsibility to get involved in that. It's just not. So his anger with me is not about me. He's not mad at me. He's not actually mad at me. I'm not going to take that personally. He's mad because now he has to face his wife. He's mad because I have forced him to now have to have a conversation with his wife because I have injected doubt into his current narrative. He's mad because my boundary means he actually has to attend to his duties as a husband. That's for him to sit with. That's his anxiety to navigate. It's not mine to stabilize for him.
Silence fell like a wet blanket over the city, muffling its cries. Time to rest, I thought. Time to drink.
See? That's more like it. Finally making some sense.
$2,200 for all that, huh? What a mission. That was rich with illustrations. Johnny putting the cap on it. Love it. Again, I will remind you, friends, if you enjoy these streams, if you like the things that I have to say and the things I'm illustrating, I would love it if you left a comment. I would also love it if you shared these videos with folks that you think could benefit from it. It was a fun conversation. That's my bread and butter, friends. I deal with that kind of stuff all the time as a therapist, and I think it's important to look at these things developmentally. I know that my tone with Pepe and with Cynthia was, I think, probably somewhat condescending because of my own personal frustrations with the fact that this is something that's happening for the two of them. But in a professional context, it would be a lot more like it sounded when I was standing in the apartment. There's a lot of empathy. It's looking at this and reminding that, like, people don't know how these things work. People do what they've learned to do. They don't necessarily learn sophisticated ways of dealing with healthy communication. You don't know how to communicate in a healthy way until it's taught to you. And so I, as a therapist, am there to help people do that. Honestly, I think anything's possible in Night City, Christian. Do you do an OCD lecture? Yes. It's in the unlisted VOD playlist if you want to watch it. Also, Sean's going to create the edited version of it that will be out shortly. But if you go to the unlisted VOD playlist on my channel, you will find it. If you're watching this VOD down the line, there's an OCD lecture that should be available just in the playlist, the mental health playlists. Oh, what's up, Takamura? Okada, do you not think she will betray us? I hate how aggressive these are. I really do. You only have to look at her, a venomous spider wearing the mask of a nice old lady, but I will not be fooled. If it were not her disdain for Arasaka, she would have sold us out for a handful of pachinko balls, but since she has not, that means she is something even more dangerous, an opportunist. Maybe she simply wants to spear 2 rats in 1 stick and is waiting for the right moment. B, I am in Kabuki. I have 2 questions. How could anyone call this filthy slum Kabuki? Kabuki is a form of art. I will let you know shortly. Thanks, Goro. About that situation. For what it seems, Cynthia chose to have a child with Pepe. I think it would have been appropriate to tell Pepe that she's changed her looks beforehand. Pepe, though, should also discuss his anxiety about it. It would have been smart. It would have been smart to say, just so you know, I have changed my appearance a lot, and so the baby we have may not look the way you're anticipating. Yeah, I agree. Right? But this is why I default back to Pepe and Cynthia don't communicate well. There are so many things that they should be saying to each other and are not. And we don't know the reasons why. We don't know if it's because they lack the skills. We don't know if it's because they lack the awareness. We don't know if it's because there's abusive dynamics. We don't know if it's because their responses have literally punished to extinction desirable behavior. Like, we have no idea. We have no idea. This is where a relational assessment would be in order if I was their therapist. I would need to figure out the history of this stuff to figure out how these things broke down so that we could replace those problematic sequences with more healthy ones. Also, can we just take a second and talk about how I totally freaking called it in the bar that she was potentially going for medical appointments? How about it? Called it.
See you around. And tell your sister I said hi.
Of course. If I ever see her again. The new job's been tough on her lately.
What's up, dude? Yes, Saint Rousseau.
Some water. You got Saint Rousseau?
Oof. Boss. Water? You don't want something with taste?
I'm a hydro
Water's
homie.
For the animals. People didn't invent sugar just to drink.
There is no reason to judge people's preferences for food and beverage. If I order a water, give me a water. I didn't ask for a water with a side of judgmental bullshit. I asked for water. I get so frustrated with how up in arms people get about other folks' preferences. Who cares if a person likes their steak well done? If they're happy eating their steak well done, they're happy eating their steak well done. Who cares if I order water instead of a sugary drink? There are bigger battles to fight in this world than the sensory preferences of other humans. Don't be that person. Don't be this guy.
You freeze up a lot?
1 second, boss. Brad? Hey, Brad! Listen, boss, you help me out? Kids on the block been up my ass lately, and you seem real tough.
What? You don't like using those big shiny muscles all by yourself? You can't just take that apron off and start towel whipping those boys? How do you like it?
Might as well, since I'm here. Lead the way.
Thanks, boss. All right, follow me.
You give me no more shit about my water after I help you, buddy.
You lost your minds? Get your grubby paws off my bike!
You think we're playing around? This is a small price to pay for fucking treason.
You still can't let go of that? Shana made a choice. You should be proud of her.
Proud? That bitch sold out to a fucking corp! Now it's time for payback. Fuck you want? This ain't none of your biz. You another corporal rat?
Dude, just get off his bike.
Relax. Don't got any beef with you. For now. What happened?
Your new pal here talked his sister into taking a job at Zetatech. Bitch just leaves and doesn't even say bye. We've been running these streets ever since we were kids. Hacking street vending machines, fucking up corpos, is what we live for.
And what? Now she's too good for us? Double-crossing cunt!
You listen to yourselves? And how stealing from poor folk like me gonna make things better? Shana's a grown-ass woman now. You should follow her example.
You getting back a corpse by stealing from a street vendor? Says a lot about you. Now back the fuck away from him.
Or you'll do what?
I could break your jaw, fracture your skull, shoot you. The possibilities are endless.
You care so much about a rat fucking traitor, and you can die together.
Yo, Brad, ain't that... Yo, that's the dude everyone been talking about. When he came back from the dead. You know how many gonks he's offed already? And I ain't even talking solo.
Yeah, you scared?
He following us?
See you later.
They lost their damn minds. Thanks, boss. That ought to teach him.
Just between the two of us, you really proud your sisters joined the Zetatech fold?
Look, I know what you're thinking. Corps are exploiting us. They're turning us into slaves. That's what people say, no? Well, guess what? They never have to worry about putting food on table. Me and Shana take whatever we can get.
She's probably running on neurostims. You not worried?
Hey, you can't have it all. And even if we did, nobody'd get off their ass and do anything.
Well, when you put it that way. Now that that's over, you okay?
Who, me? Couldn't be better. All talk and no action. Maybe they should go get a job. Fucking parasites. Well, at least Shana can focus on her job now. No one in the family ever got as high up as her. Anyway, stop by whenever you're around. I throw in a nice discount for you.
Will do, boss. Thanks.
Honestly, if the discount is that you don't give me shit for ordering water, I'm in. Well, I reckon this is probably a good place for me to actually wrap up. We're going to wait for Takamura's call. I don't really have any side quests to knock out, and it feels like a good stopping point. So this is where I'm going to end part 24. I really appreciate all of you coming out. Those of you that are here live, thank you so much for taking the time to come out here live. Those of you that are watching the VOD, thanks for making it all the way through this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. We had some really great conversations here. We finally talked to Takamura. We got to do some sweet side missions. I really love talking about the infidelity aspect of it. Would love it if you left a comment down below. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you give me a thumbs up. Follow me on all the socials down in the description. And thanks again to anybody who supported this stream financially, whether it's from becoming a member, sending a tip, or purchasing some merchandise. I will remind you one more time, we've got merchandise available in the merch store that is Cyberpunk related. We have this design in t-shirt, mug, and crew neck sweatshirt. Part 25 coming at you next, and I'm really excited for it, and I can't wait. It'll be here before we know it. So those of you that are binging the series, if it's already done, see you in the next one.